I think there were 38,000 Republicans that showed up and voted for Donald Trump or something like that in Chicago. So, you know, since if we're trying to draw some conclusions and you all want some other, you know, analytics you might want to discover, that might be something to look into, because I'll just say it, there's a good chance that played a part.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson appearing to blame Trump supporters for his Bring Chicago Home referendum failing. Now, this was going to be a tax hike that affected high dollar value properties in the city, and they were going to take that tax hike money and help the homeless. Now, when I hear Chicago and homeless, I also hear migrants. So if I live in the city and I live in a high dollar value property, I don't want to pay any more taxes, and I definitely don't want to pay any more taxes for these illegal aliens all in my city. I'm going to vote against it. Now, rather than the mayor saying, you know what, that might be why this failed, maybe Chicagoans don't like tax hikes, maybe they don't want to pay for the illegal aliens, rather than just saying that, he's trying to blame 38,000 Trump supporters in a city of 2.6 million. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, before I get into anything else, let's get into an actual news clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link, as always, will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Developing tonight, the results are coming in for the Bring Chicago Home referendum in Chicago. It sparked a lot of debate on both sides of the issue. And
WGN's Kelly Davis keeping an eye on the results there for us tonight. Kelly?
Ray and Micah, there was a lot of controversy around this issue leading up to Election Day, but when it came down to it, the decision was up to voters, and they did not support Mayor Johnson's Bring Chicago Home referendum. Here's a look at the numbers. Majority of voters were opposed to the referendum, with 54% voting no, but it was close, 46.
So I guess maybe he's trying to look at the difference between the yeses and the nos, and that's the reason why this whole thing failed. Okay, now understand this, the city, and maybe I'm wrong, you guys let me know. The city of Chicago, you got 2.6 million people in the city. Now, this is only about 400,000, 350,000, right around that. It's much less than 400,000 total votes. So how are we going to say that the 35,000 that voted for Trump is the same margin? Like, the math ain't mathing to me. Okay, I think there's a lot less people that voted for this particular thing than who voted for the president in 2020 and 2016, but I digress.
6% voted yes to Bring Chicago Home. That's with 98% of precincts reporting. One final push of polling places this morning encouraging people to vote yes today was not enough. Supporters wanted to give City Council the power to increase taxes on expensive properties and use that money to help the homeless. But people voted against it. The proposal would have added a hefty real estate transfer tax on properties sold for more than $1 million. Supporters said it would have.
Now, in today's day and age, is that a lot of money? $1 million? I mean, it is a lot of money, but is it really? When you're talking about a place like Chicago or even San Fran, Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, to pay $500,000 for a house, you're going to be in the ghetto ducking bullets. So I presume it's not that much different in a place like Chicago, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's keep on going.
Would have generated up to $100 million in tax revenue to fight homelessness, but opponents warned it would impact renters and commercial real estate, causing fewer businesses to relocate to the city. I spoke with a member of the Neighborhood Building Alliance and the organization which was against this ordinance. He tells me while they were happy with this outcome, they're not doing a victory lap tonight. They still want to work with the city to find a solution to homelessness.
I think that the voters using their voice was merely just saying, hey, we want to continue to think about how to solve this problem because it is a problem to be solved.
Now, let's pause for a minute. One thing you're not going to do to solve homelessness is to throw money at it. All you're going to do is get more of it. California, they spend a ton of money on their homeless, and the problem they have is the worst I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it is bad. You're talking about third world country level bad. Why is it so bad when they spend so much money on it? Well, you incentivize them to go out there to travel from all over the country. Look, if a person likes to smoke crack and they're homeless in Podunkville, USA, middle of nowhere, no resources, no infrastructure, no nothing. And then they come to Los Angeles, Southern California, it never rains. People have money, they can panhandle, and they're getting services. Why wouldn't they go to your city and be homeless and smoke crack all day? Same thing, Chicago, same thing anywhere. If you give homeless people things, then you're going to have more of them. You're not going to actually fix the problem. It's like feeding wild animals. You think you're just helping this hungry animal, but all's going to happen is they're going to keep coming back, and they might call their whole family. I saw somebody was taking care of a deer that was injured, and when the person released the deer back into the wild, the deer came back with their whole family because the person was giving out food. That's how this whole thing works with homeless people. Not all, but the problem we see is a result of helping them. This is why the migrants come to New York City, Chicago, etc., because they're going to get resources, they're going to get help, they're going to get assistance. That's why they don't come to Podunkville, USA and set up big tent cities, because there will be nobody there to help them. There's no resources, no food, no money, no nothing. If you want to solve the homeless problem, starve them out. But I digress.
And that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to be a part of.
The Bring Chicago Home campaign released a statement just minutes ago saying in part, quote, there are still 100,000 outstanding mail-in ballots to be counted, but whatever the final count, one thing is abundantly clear tonight: how determined our opponents are to continue profiting from displacement and inequality.
Now, this was 6 days ago. This is a little while ago. It's looking like, yeah, you got 96% of precincts reporting. Yeah, it's pretty much a wrap.
They went on to say the results are disappointing, but they are nowhere near the end of their journey.
If you voted for this guy, I don't know what you were thinking. I hope that you regret your decision, and next time you're going to do something different, because this guy is worse than the lady before. I forget her name. You guys know what I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and check this out.
Showed up and voted for Donald. I think there were 38,000 Republicans that showed up and voted for Donald Trump or something like that in Chicago. So, you know, since if we're trying to draw some conclusions and you all want some other, you know, analytics you might want to discover, that might be something to look into, because I'll just say it, there's a good chance that played a part in this referendum. So the same people who want to see Donald Trump to become president, you know, sometimes I do feel like he wants my job, but who wants to be president again, those are the same voters who voted for him, and the same voters where you look at where there were more no's, they were concentrated there.
So it's like, okay, what you want to do right now is just otherize people. You want to say, oh, it was those MAGA Republicans, they're the ones that killed referendum. Well, maybe normal, regular, everyday citizens, it's not even about who you want to vote for, Trump, Biden, or whatever. And by the way, Chicago is not MAGA country. They're not going to be in big enough numbers to make a really big impact on a thing like this. If your city really wanted it, your city of 2.6 million, then it would have passed. It wouldn't have been close. It wouldn't have been a razor thin. It wasn't even really close. But it wouldn't be any kind of ambiguity to it if your people really, really wanted it. Chicago went like 85, 90% for Biden in 16 and 20. And if that's wrong, let me know in the comments. So why would you think that Trump supporters make a difference when it comes to this? You're just trying to find somebody to blame, trying to point the finger at somebody, when in reality, as I said from the jump, take a look in the mirror and blame yourself. Understand that people in your city don't want to pay more taxes, especially not for the so-called homeless, which will probably end up being majority illegal aliens from all over the world. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what Brandon Johnson said here, trying to blame MAGA Republicans, Trump supporters, whatever your thoughts are? Let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about a referendum? Bring Chicago home. Was it a good idea? Raise taxes on real estate above $1 million and use that money to pay for the homeless. Migrants, whatever they are. Whatever your thoughts are on that, let me know in the comments. You guys know where I'm at. I think your people sent you a message. They don't want this. It's simple, okay? They don't want this. check it out, Brandon Johnson. You are the mayor, and there's been Democrat after Democrat after Democrat in your city. So are you going to give Trump supporters the credit for that? Are you going to blame them for having, low polling numbers, but you still won? Like, who takes credit for your victory? Who takes credit for you being there right now? Why were MAGA Republicans, Trump supporters, not able to keep you out of office, but they were able to keep your initiatives off the table? I don't understand how that makes any sense, sir. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.